Yo, what is up, guys? And we are back for another video on Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle. And we are here today in the summon screen, but we're not summoning, right? So, to be honest with you, I've dropped just like a handful of multis on this guy. I'm not, I think he's really strong, obviously. He's an LR. He's got the really cool unit super attack. Obviously, I love him, and he's Vegeta, right? Vegeta, just one of the best characters in the series, right? So you've got this banner, and if we look at it, let's look at the Scouter. So this is a 12 featured unit banner, and then just to, make mention, all of these units, they're not trash, but if we look at a great majority of them, this guy is usable, but probably going to be superseded by the Hercule and Buu exchange unit #1, and then LR Hercule. I mean, just probably, right? And then you've got this guy who's actually very strong, but probably, again, this is a guy who's on every single Dokkan Fest banner, every single Legendary Summon banner. You probably have this guy with at least a dupe or two, even if you're fully free to play. This guy, he's a little bit newer. He's only been out for about 3 months. You may not have him. Not a horrible featured unit, to be honest. This guy is 100 years old. You should probably, this is one of the guys you pull and you're like, oh, great. You get all R's and SR's, and you get him in the guaranteed slot, and you're like, oh, great, Shaft City. And that is kind of the sort of point of this video, is I want to talk about what is a shaft. And it's going to vary from banner to banner, and obviously, this is 100% my opinion of what a shaft is, because to me, if I'm talking about a shaft, to me, I'm talking about not pulling the main featured unit in a considerable amount of stones. And the considerable amount of stones is relative, right? And we're going to go through the, specifically I want to go through the summon calculator, right? Dabura would be a decent pull, obviously. Dabura pretty damn good, especially for that Extreme Z area, right? He's very strong for that. He'd be a good pull. But again, he's not a Dokkan Fest. He's on every single banner. You may not have him, and if you pull him, you're excited because he's only been out for 3 months. I get that. Buu is another one of those units. When he gets his Extreme Z Awakening, he is actually quite strong. That would not be a terrible pull for most of you, or for most people, right? Just in general. AGL Kid Buu is absolute trash even after his EZA. Sorry. This guy is very strong after his EZA. This guy is very strong after his EZA, and actually so is this guy. And he's an AoE, right? And then Majin Vegeta is obviously an LR, and then you've got the other LR. But the whole point is you can pull all of these units on Legendary Summon banners, right? Including him. I mean, this guy will not leave me alone. It's part of the reason why I don't want to jump into this banner. I just have this horrible feeling that I'm going to pull many copies of this guy. I've had this guy rainbowed for probably, I don't know, 6 months now, ish. And since then, I've pulled at least 4 or 5 copies. I almost have enough. I've used them for either Baba Food or for super attack fodder, right? So I've used his, UR status, right? Anyway, that is a Legendary Summon banner. Also to keep in mind, shafts are going to be different on different types of banners. So I thought that it'd be a good chance to kind of hop into the summon screen, right? So remember that this is a 10 featured unit banner. So your odds of pulling featured units, well, the main featured unit that is better, right? And again, pulling Tien is cool, but it's not Vegito, right? I mean, Tien is great. He's a great support unit, but he's not Vegito, right? So that's why I say a shaft, again, is relative. But a shaft, if you get shafted on this type of banner, you're at least pulling another Dokkan Fest LR. You're pulling LR Int Cell. You're pulling Super Saiyan 4 Goku. You're pulling Int Vegito, right? You're pulling Bardock. You're pulling Angel SS2 Goku. I mean, this is definitely Shaft City. I pulled way too many copies of him now. Same thing with Fizz Vegito. AGL Super Vegito, probably a good pull for most people, especially if you're new. You might not even have 1 copy of that guy. So not horrible, and then, of course, same thing goes on this banner. If you don't pull the main featured and you get, quote, shafted, at least you get AGL Gohan, Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, Gogeta, STR Cooler, the best TUR in the game. Majin Vegeta, obviously transforming Vegeta, Buu Tanks, Buhan. Probably you have copies of all of them, unless you're a brand new player, right? But anyway, there is one other type of well, there are several other types of banners, but the 3 I want to talk about specifically are these Dokkan Festival LR banners with 10 featured units, and then these legendary summon banners with 12 featured units, and then there's also just a normal Dokkan Fest banner with 7 featured units. And again, there are some special exceptions, like there are 8 featured unit banners sometimes when they introduce a Dokkan Fest LR onto a banner. Oftentimes they'll have it be an 8 featured unit banner. We saw it last year with our Golden Week banner with the Trunks and Zamasu. We saw it with the Angel SS2 and then SS2 Vegeta, right, on their original banner. That was an 8 featured unit banner, so those exist as well. But those are kind of special exceptions. So what I want to do is go and look at these banners, and I want to jump into the summon calculator, okay? So we're going to go, I'm going to change gears here, and we're going to shift over to the Dokkan Battle Wiki. Okay, guys, so here we are. We are here. Now, this is presumably going to be the next banner on Global. I think that it's pretty likely at this point that this is going to be the next banner on Global. This is Ultimate Gohan, or, you know, just Teen Gohan. He's very, very strong. He's probably just like in a vacuum the strongest TUR in the game, I would say. I like Cooler just a teensy tiny bit better for his versatility, his support, you know, lowers attack, all of those things. But this guy is just an absolute monster. You know, guards, greatly stacks attack and defense infinitely in his teen form. Really, really good. Supreme Kai for sure. Very, very strong for something like Super Battle Road. And then also presumably Bardock will be replaced with future Gohan on this banner. But that is kind of a combo for another video. But in this video, or excuse me, on this banner, this is a 7 featured unit banner. You can see Gohan 1, Supreme Kai 2, Bardock 3, Piccolo 4, Goku 5, Cooler 6, and then the other Gohan 7, right? So that is a 7 featured unit banner. So let's go ahead and pop over to the calculator. Okay, so here we are in the calculator. I've already done sort of the input here, right? So number of featured SSRs, 7. Non-featured SSRs, 210, which we saw there, which the number might be slightly different. That's going to change every single banner, right? Because we get more and more unfeatureds with every Dokkan Fest banner or every Legendary Summon banner. So that is constantly increasing, right? So, you know, you guys can, again, start to do the math in your head. The pool gets bigger, it gets harder to pull, right? Harder to pull the main featured unit. But let's just say, so we're talking about a shaft, right? Let's just say, like, you got 50 stones. You know, we got top grossing, you got 30 stones, you had 20 stones, now you have 50. And you want to hop into one summon, one multi-summon. And we're interested in one unit. You only want Teen Gohan, right? So now, what is the summon rate? So you have roughly a 7% chance, or 6.9% chance to pull the Teen Gohan, right? So definitely I would not consider that a shaft, because at 7%, 7% is very, very unlikely to happen, right? 93% of the time, you're not going to pull the unit, right? So let's go ahead and let's just say you grinded up some more free-to-play stones, and let's say now you have 150 stones, so 3 multis, right? And we're only interested in the 1 card. Non-featured SSRs we don't care about either. What is the summon rate? So now we have roughly a 20% chance. Again, keeping in mind that a 20% chance is still not that great. I mean, it's obviously more likely than a 7% chance, but it is only, alas, 19.5, or we'll just say 20%. You keep it nice and round. Let's say you run out of free-to-plays. Now you got to start whaling, right? So now, let's just say you purchase some stones, right? So let's just say now you're up to 500 stones, right? So now we're up to 10 multis, right? 500 divided by 10 is 50, 50 stones a multi, right? Quick math. Now we're getting to it. Now we're at a coin flips chance, essentially. So a 50% chance, still not great, but at the very least, that's a coin flip. I'm going to still go ahead and say, technically speaking, by my own definition, this is not considered a shaft, because you still have a 50% chance, essentially, or a 48% chance of not pulling the unit. That is a considerable chance of not pulling it, right? So let's just say now you're like, okay, I'm sick of it. Let's get another 250 stones. We'll do 5 more multis, 15 multis total, right? Now we're getting to it. So now 67%. So I'm going to say at this point or beyond, I'm going to go ahead and consider that a shaft. In my own opinion, and you guys let me know in the comments below, but in my own opinion, that is considered a shaft. on one of these banners, right? So my threshold for shaft is 15 multis. You should realistically pull the unit. You've got a 2 in 3 chance in pulling the unit. I'm going to go ahead and say that that is a shaft. And then when you start getting beyond that, let's just say 20 multis, you drop 1,000 stones. Now you're really starting to get into Shaft City, right? Now you've got an 80% chance to pull it. So you guys can see, like, between 750 and 1,000 stones, that is my threshold on a Dokkan Fest banner, a 7 featured unit banner for a shaft. So what I want to do now is let's go ahead and check out just like a 10 featured unit Dokkan Fest LR banner. So I pulled up the Boo-Tanks banner, right? So the Boo-Tanks banner, you can see we've got Boo-Tanks, we've got Boo Piccolo, Gohan, Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, Gogeta, Cooler, Majin Vegeta, Transforming Vegeta, Transforming Boo, and then Boohan, right? So that is a 10 featured unit banner. And again, that is a 5% featured and 5% well, 5% featured in the guaranteed slot. That's what that means up there. And then a 95% non-featured chance, right, in the guaranteed slot. So you have a much better chance of pulling the unit, right, in the non-featured spot. So in slots 1 through 9, right? So if you guys did not know that, now you do. So let's go ahead and check out the summon calculator now. Okay, so here we are. I've already inputted the data, right? So here we go. Number of featured SSRs, 10, and you guys could see in the general pool there are 208 non-featured SSRs. So how many featured SSRs are you interested? We're only interested in Boo-Tanks, right? So what is the summon rate if you're going to just drop one multi? One multi on the banner, you've got roughly a 5% chance. And you guys might not think that 2% makes a lot of difference, but when you're extrapolating it over many, many multis, it really makes a big difference. And I'll show you right now. So let's say, okay, you know, it's the anniversary, or excuse me, it's the download celebration, it's the worldwide celebration. I'm gonna whale out. I only do it once or twice a year. Let's do it, right? So now, let's just say we're gonna do that 10 multis, so 500 stones, right? 10 multis, and this is not counting free multis also. So you're gonna have to sort of understand that 10 multis worth of summons, realistically, that is what? That would be 2 rounds of step-ups. No, that would be 3. Yeah, 2 rounds of step-ups and then 3 multis, right? Is that what it would be? So that would be 300 stones, and that would get you 6, 8. So then it would be 2 left over, right? Yeah, so there we go. So you would have 1 step left, right? And before the freebie. So let's just go ahead and look. Again, this is just for sake of argument here. Now we're up to a 40% chance to pull the main featured unit, right? That's honestly still not that good. So, like, when you guys are telling me that you pull these units on the first multi, you got to understand the odds of that are highly against you. The game does not want you to pull the unit because it wants you to use more Dragon Stones. That's the whole point of the game. That's why they can kind of afford to, you know, pay these designers, these game designers at Akatsuki and stuff to make these, you know, bomb-ass super attacks. And so, again, that's the whole point. And obviously, you know, the big Toei umbrella, Shueisha and all of that, they want to make money. That's the whole point of this game. So never think that the game is your friend and the game wants you to pull the units. They want you to pull the units, but only after you've spent a lot of Dragon Stones. So let's just say, oh man, I didn't pull the unit I want. Now, let's go ahead and drop, again, this is going to be 750 stones worth of multis, right? 15 multis. What are we up to now? We're still only at a coin flips chance. So now you really got to dig into the pocketbook here. So I haven't pulled them yet. Let's go ahead and go up to 20 multis or 1,000 stones. And what are we at? So 63% still, I mean, you've got a 37% chance to not pull the main featured unit. Let's just say 22, let's say 22, 24 multis. What are we at now? 24 multis, so that would that be 1,200 stones? Let's see where we're at. That's a 70% chance, or 69% chance, 70% chance. I'm going to say that that's sort of my own personal threshold. When you can say, I mean, 1,000 stones is probably a good number, but just remember, 1,000 stones only yielded you, what, a 60% chance to pull the unit? It's better than normal, right? Is that what we were at? 20 multis. What was that? What were we at? Yeah, 63% chance. So I'm going to go ahead and say that 1,000 stones, maybe 1,200 stones, that's going to be my threshold for like shaft. Like when am I going to consider it being a shaft? And that's when I would say, that's when I'd start to say, okay, now you're getting shafted. And we're talking about one banner. So if you did all of those multis on the Bootank's banner because he's your favorite character, that's when I would consider it a shaft. Remember, on each banner, if you split that up between both banners, you're talking you only did, 10 multis worth, right? So if we go back to 10 multis worth, you're still down to a 40% chance. That's just, the odds are not good. You've got a 3 in 5 chance of not pulling the unit. You know what I mean? So that's kind of my threshold. I'm going to just go ahead and make it a nice even 1,000 stones to pull the main featured unit. You've got over a 50% chance, roughly a 63% chance at 20 multis. So let's go ahead and take a bigger deep dive into the Angel SS2 Vegeta banner. All right, so here we are. We are in the Angel SS2 Vegeta banner, the top legendary summon banner. Now you can see right off the bat, there's a bigger pool of units, right? So there's more LRs on the banner. Now keep in mind, there are a ton of unfeatured LRs that are really, really good. But again, for sake of argument here, we're talking about pulling the main featured unit. And in this case, there's one main featured unit that we want, one unit that is brand new to the game, right? That's what we're talking about. So like, yeah, if you do a multi and you pull UI Goku, you're not going to be mad at that, right? So, but the whole point is we have to define a shaft somehow, and that's how I'm defining it in my own opinion. So you can see 224 unfeatured SSRs, and we know the 5% featured, 5% unfeatured. How that works is in slots 1 through 9, you've got a 50% chance. Well, if you pull an SSR, which you only have a 10% chance in slots 1 through 9, but if you pull an SSR, there's a 50% chance that it will be featured and a 50% chance that it will be unfeatured. And that's how all these sort of numbers are worked out. So let's once again go back to the summon calculator. So remembering that was a 12 featured unit banner, I didn't go through the featured units. We already kind of did, right, earlier in the video. So the number of summons, let's just say you get I don't know, 50 stones. You finally beat some Extreme Super Battle Road. You get 50 stones, right? So you do one multi on the banner, just, one multi in a dream, right? We're interested in one featured unit. What is the summon rate for a 224 unit banner, right? Let's just see. You're at a 4, now you're down to a 4% chance. So for those of you who pull him on the first multi, second multi, I mean, you guys just have to understand, especially when you're getting those crazy Whis animations and stuff, you just have to understand the rarity and how lucky you actually are when you pull those units in the first few multis. So let's just say you grinded up all of Super Battle Road and you grinded up Infinite Dragon Ball History and you had some stones left over. Now you're up to 150 stones, let's just say, right? So 3 multis, number of multi summons, you're only interested in one featured unit. Let's just see where we're at. That's only an 11% chance of that happening. I mean, the odds of that are just, God, I mean, you've got a 9 in 10 chance of not pulling him, right? I mean, you just have to understand the odds are just so stacked against you. And that's why so many YouTubers tell you not to summon on these 12 featured unit banners, because look at that, dude. 150 stones, odds are you're not pulling anything. Like, you're gonna pull like Hellfighter 17, 5 SSRs, or excuse me, 5 SRs and 4 Rs, and then Hellfighter 17 in the guaranteed slot. Like, for instance, that's one of the multis I had like right before I made this video, right? So I'm not going to go ahead and say, because I've only dropped, I think, 2 or 3 multis. I can't definitely say I can't say I was shafted, right? Because I really didn't go in on the banner. If I would have pulled him, it just would have been extraordinarily lucky. That's what it would have been. So let's just go ahead and say now, again, you got to reach into the pocketbook again, right? Hopefully you have deep pockets, because this game, you guys can see, this game does not want you to win, right? It doesn't want you to win. It doesn't want you to pull the units. You look at like people like Truth and Noir and Calc and stuff, when they just get monster shafted on these banners, going 4, 5, 6. I think Truth went 10,000, Noir went 12,000 to Rainbow, the blue Goku and the blue Vegeta, right? I mean, the odds of that are like 0.1% or 0.001%. But anyway, let's just go ahead and keep going here, right? So let's just say now you've got to reach into the pockets, right? let's just say you do 10 multis, so 500 stones on this banner. Remember, no discounts, no nothing on these banners. Now you've only got a 1 in 3 chance, which are obviously better than a 1 in 10 chance, but again, you're talking 500 stones on this legendary summon banner. That's not really all that good, right? You still have a 2 in 3 chance of not pulling the unit that you want, right? The main featured unit. So again, you got to go deeper. You got to dig deeper, right? So you got to go even further beyond, if you will. Let's just say now you're not messing around. You got another 500 stones. Now we're at 20 multis. Let's see where we're at now. This is a cool 1,000 stones. You still only have a 56% chance of pulling the unit. That is still, it's obviously better than a coin flips chance, but it's still not great. How many times have you guys flipped coins? Like if you guys were younger and you were in your, you know, whatever, 9th or 10th grade math class or your stats class, and they had you calculate, calculate the odds, right? And it usually equated flipping a coin, let's just say. Like you flipped a coin 100 times and you had to document how many times it came up heads, how many times it came up tails, right? So there were probably often times where you would flip the coin and like 5 or 6 times in a row, 10 times in a row it would come up tails. That's exactly what's going on here, right? When you get shafted on banners. So 1,000 stones, again, you're still not looking at a very, you're not really looking that good, right? 56% chance. Let's say now you've got to go really, you got to dig real deep, right? Now we're going to do 30 multis on the banner. That is 1,500 stones. Now we're at a 71% chance. Okay, so now if you're not pulling the unit after 1,500 stones, that is a straight up shaft. I mean, that's really bad. Now you've got a 70% chance to pull the featured unit you want. So I'm going to go ahead and say between 1,000, let's just say you split the difference. 1,250 stones, what are we at? So that would be 25 multis. 64% chance. So essentially you've got a 2 in 3 chance. I would go ahead and make that the threshold, right? We'll say 1,250 stones. If you don't pull it after that, you are starting to get into Shaft City, right? And again, this is my own opinion. I just want you guys to understand that, like, when you pull the units and like if you, when you guys talk about like clearing the banners out, I did it in 500 stones, like, dude, you got monster luck. Like when I pulled, and this is a completely kind of a story for another video, right? But when I was on Legends, the 1 year or the 2 year anniversary, and I pulled 9 Vegito Blues, I think I ended up doing like 40 multis. I mean, I can't even really type it in here. I don't know the pool of SSRs. There's no such thing as a guaranteed sparking. You know, I don't know the pool of sparking, so I'm not going to try and pretend, but I know that the odds were not very good of that happening, right? I just kept pulling them and pulling them and pulling them, and sometimes that's the way it goes, right? And sometimes you just get lucky. And then other times on Dokkan Fest banners, like on STR Cooler's initial banner, I did 800 stones, right? I would definitely consider that a shaft. I had a 2 in 3 chance, or more than a 2 in 3 chance of pulling that man, right? And I couldn't do it. I just could not do it. I kept pulling every other featured unit but him, right? So, and that's how it was on the Bardock banner for me. No, the Bardock banner, I literally pulled like 1 Dokkan Fest banner, or unit, right? But you guys get it, right? The shaft is relative, and it's obviously like a shaft probably to someone like Truth or something like that is different than a shaft to a free-to-play player, right? You know, the shafts that I really feel bad for are you free-to-plays who only summon once or twice a year, and you saved up 3-4K and you still can't pull the unit. I mean, that's straight up like, that's a shaft. That's a shaft beyond belief, right? So, but you guys get it. So my final sort of calculations here, 750 stones on a 7 featured unit banner, I'm going to go ahead and say is a shaft. And on a 10 featured unit banner, 1,000 stones, I'm going to go ahead and say that's a shaft as well. And then on a 12 featured legendary summon banner, I'm going to go ahead and say 25 multis or 1,250 stones. That is considered a shaft. If you guys agree or disagree, let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, I know it's kind of long today, slap a like on it. Let me know if you learned something. Consider subscribing if you're new. I love you guys. Thank you so very much for the support. It means so much to me. I will catch all of you in the next one. Later.